Hey guys, it's ARTFX, and today we're going to be looking into the newest version of KClip. KClip LLC, they contacted me saying that they've released a new version of KClip. So they asked me if I wanted to test out KClip version 2. So right now I have a drum loop right here. And let me bring this down a bit. So that's just kind of like a hip-hop drum loop, something like that. And I'm gonna test out KClip on this one. So we have KClip Pro version 2. Right off the bat you can see that we've got a whole bunch of new things. We've got two graphs right here, and these actually show the input waveform and the output waveform. So you can see the unprocessed signal and the processed signal. That's definitely interesting. It's a great new thing to have. I know a lot of people say you need to trust your ears, but having a visual kind of thing definitely helps to, well, makes you look at music from a slightly different perspective. You know, you should always trust your ears, but having your eyes as well is definitely a good thing. Other than that, they've also added a link button between the input gain and output gain. So when I bring this input gain up, the output gain is brought down with the exact same amount. That's a small little feature that they added that is, well, definitely useful. It saves a little bit of time. They also added 32 times oversampling instead of 1, 8 and 16. So you now have an additional 32 times oversampling. Gives you a slightly higher quality sound. Which is of course a great thing. The guard and ceiling have stayed the same. Now, because we also have this graph now, you can also see we now have a couple of different meters. We have the peak level, so that's actually the maximum loudness that we have in this sound, which for this one is pretty much 0 dB. Then we have the average RMS volume, so that's your perceived loudness. That is the average loudness of your track. And then we have the amount of clipped dB. So when we go above that ceiling, you will see that this clipped will actually display how many dB we're going above the ceiling, and that means that those dBs, those peaks are going to be clipped. And coming to the clipping thing, we now also have a few different clipping modes. So the soft mode right here will basically determine how this knob is going to respond to every peak that's going to exceed the ceiling level. So if I bring this up quite a lot, and we can bring this up to, let's say, 8 dB. So we're gonna go from this to this. So that is a lot louder, right? The thing is now that if I bring up the soften knob on the smooth setting, it will basically respond like it did in the first version of KClip. But we now also have a crisp mode, which completely disables the soften knob, so I think that's just the same as having the soften at 0% when you're in the smooth mode. I think it's going to be exactly the same. So if I now set the mode to tube, that will actually add a bit of saturation and it will color your sound. Now this is going to be really subtle, so I mean, just listen to it. It's really subtle, and there's another mode which is called tape, which basically does the same thing but then in a slightly different way, which also is really subtle. You can most clearly hear this when we really crank this up really high, so this is gonna be way too distorted, by the way, so bear with me, but this is just to demonstrate. I brought this up really much right now, and if we listen to this, you can hear that there's a slight difference between the tube and the tape mode. So it's great that we now have those different modes. We can add a little bit of more distortion to the sound, and that is just generally a good thing to have when you want to use this on your drums. So the thing why I use KClip a lot is just on my drum bus, and I like to use it on my masters as well, just because I can control any unwanted peaks and bring up the loudness at the same time. Plus I can add some slight saturation if I want to. So this is, for me at least, I prefer to use this plugin over any limiter. I tested this plugin against a couple of limiters, and I have to say that I got cleaner results with this plugin. So that's why I use this plugin instead. It still pretty much does what a limiter does, except it does it in a slightly different way, and I like it that way. So, you know, it's all up to personal preference, but if you want to add a little bit of distortion, and I mean, I work with a lot of music that has quite a lot of distortion already, so being able to add a little bit of more distortion to it definitely is a good thing. Gives you a little bit more possibilities, I guess. We also have a preset browser now, so we can save our own presets and load up new presets, which is really great. That wasn't there in the first version, so I like that. Also, another cool thing that they added, if I bring this up, for instance, quite a lot on the tube setting, and let's do this. We now also have a dry wet knob, so I can actually blend a little bit of the wet signal with the dry signal. So that's great, because not always you want to have the fully saturated and fully clipped signal. Sometimes you just want to have a blend between the unprocessed signal and the processed signal. So you can do that with the dry wet right here. And you can just dial in the right amount. So that's pretty much all there is to it. There's not really that much more to talk about. I know this video is a little bit short, but I mean, what else do we need to talk about? There's not really that much more to this plugin. It does a really simple thing, but I think it does it in a really good way. So yeah, other than that, if you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. That will help me to make this channel bigger and bigger. Also, if you were wondering what has happened to the website, you guys don't see what's happening on the back end of the website, but the way it was all set up with the forum and the login system, it was a pain in the ass. So I took down the forum just temporarily, because I'm working on a new forum that will be much more, or well, that will be much better integrated into the website, and it just will give you a much better user experience, and it will be easier for me to maintain and moderate, which is definitely a good thing, because I was losing track of everything that I had to do. By the time the new forum is going to be online, I'm probably going to need a few moderators, so keep an eye out on the website. I'll post up a news message about that as soon as it happens. Other than that, I hope you like this video. Comment, like and subscribe. I'll see you back soon. Peace!